Hello everybody and welcome to the Punchboard Report. My name is Blake Ryder. Today we are looking at Cryptid, designed by Duncan and Ruth Veevers, published in 2018 by Osprey Games. Now, Cryptid is a pure deduction game where players are going to be searching for the hex that a monster is hiding on, and everyone is going to have one small piece of information as to which hex that might be, and over the course of the game you're going to be trying to deduce and figure out what everyone else's clues are. That way you can figure out where the monster is hiding. So let's get it set up on the table and we'll be back for some thoughts. So what we're doing here, there's a monster hiding on one of these hexes on the board, and the object of the game is to figure out and deduce which hex they're hiding on, and if you're the first person to do that, you will win. Okay, so the way this works, you're going to draw one of these cards out of a deck, and each of these cards is a game. So this is basically going to tell you how to set the board up, how to orient these different tiles you see here, as well as where to put these different structures that you see here on the board, okay? And then you're going to flip the card up and you're going to distribute these little clue books that you have here based on the number of players. So if we're playing a 3-player game, one person will get the red book and look at clue 55, one person will get the brown clue book, and one person will get the purple clue book and look at clues 52 and 45 respectively. So if I get the brown book and I am looking at clue 52, it says here, within 2 spaces of an abandoned shack. Now, everyone is going to have a piece of information just like that. Something about describing where the monster is. So it could be within 2 spaces of an abandoned shack. These triangles are called abandoned shacks. You also have these cylinders, which are called standing stones, and you have a bunch of different types of terrain. You have desert, and you have water, you have mountains, and so on and so forth. So everyone is going to have some sort of clue indicating where the monster is, but is one partial piece of information, and you're going to be asking people throughout the game if the monster could be hidden in one of these hexes based on their clue and their clue alone, okay? So, the game is going to start, and everyone is going to go around and place 2 pieces on the board of these cubes. These cubes mean that it cannot be where the monster is based on your specific clue. So our clue is within 2 of an abandoned shack. So we know that there's the abandoned shack. It could be within 2 spaces of that one, it could be within 2 spaces of any side on that one, and within 2 of that one. So I'm going to be placing 2 pieces on the board, indicating where it cannot be. So it cannot be there because, again, that is not within 2 of an abandoned shack, and I could put the other one there. And everyone else is going to do the exact same thing with their colored pieces, indicating where it is not, and again, based on their clue alone. Then the game will begin. So on a player's turn, you can do one of 2 things. The first thing you could do is ask another player if, based on their clue, if the monster could be there. So if I am the purple player, I can ask either player, I'll say, hey, can it be there? And now, based on this guy's clue, he has to indicate whether it can or it can't. If it's not, they're going to put a cube, and over the course of the game, more of these cubes will populate on the board, and you'll have to use that information to figure out where the monster is. However, if it can be, he'll put a disc over there, and now we know that based on his clue it could be there. So over the course of the game you're going to end up getting a whole bunch of these different pieces on the board, and you're going to try to figure out what has what in common and where the yeses are and where the nos are. And over the course, and the other thing you can do on your turn is to actually make a search. So once you essentially think you figured out where the monster is, you will ask the person to your left and say, I'm going to do a search, can it be there? And ultimately, you're going to put a disc of your own color there, indicating that it can be there based on your clue. If it can be based on their clue, they'll put a yes. And if it can be based on this person's clue, they'll also put a yes, and that would mean this person is the winner. There is only one possible hex on the entire board that these clues will narrow down to. So if everyone says yes, that's it, and then the purple player would win. Okay, so as a gamer, you know there are times where you're sitting at a table playing a game for the first time, and you are just in awe of the game that you're playing. And you just can't believe that this actually exists and someone came up with this game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Cryptid is one of those games for me. This game is on another level of brilliance. The brilliance of this design cannot be overstated, in my opinion. The complexity that must have gone into designing this game and figuring out how to arrange every single tile a certain way that it only narrows down with those clues down to 1 hex, and you could play that same map with 3, 4, or 5 players, and it changes the clues based on the number of players that are playing. It's a masterpiece of design, in my opinion. Fantastic. This game is so incredibly thoughtful and fun. And, you know, I play games for fun. I lose games way, way, way more than I win. I'll be the first to say that. However, when I do win a game, I prefer to win Cryptid. I love winning Cryptid because Cryptid, when you win, you just get a sense of pride. Like you figured out the puzzle before everyone else, and everyone's crunching, staring, and trying to figure it out. And when you figure it out, it's just a great, great feeling. And I mentioned everyone's just crunching and staring. That's what this game is to an extent. It's not necessarily a table chatty game. I mean, I chat at tables. I'm a talker. I'm a talker. But that said, generally speaking, this is not a game that's going to, incite conversation and lively conversation. If you're looking for that, or just don't necessarily break this game out on a night where you're looking for a lively game. This is everyone's staring, everyone's thinking, everyone's trying to figure out the puzzle. But I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the very best of ways. This game gets my mind going in ways that no other game does. And I absolutely, absolutely love it. The game comes with those normal level cards and as well as the advanced level cards. The advanced level cards introduce a different color of elements that could be on the board. So you have, instead of just the green and blue and white standing stones and abandoned shacks, you also have black now. So you'll have additional elements to navigate. And you also have the possibility of negative clues. And what I mean by that, so in the clue books that I was showing before, the backs of these clue books give you all the possible clues that you're looking at. So essentially, these are the possible clues that everyone could have. It's within one space or two spaces of a certain structure or type of territory. If you're playing the advanced version, you have negative equivalents of all those. So it would be is not within two spaces of a structure, is not located on this type of terrain. So as you're looking through the possible clues, you're thinking about what the positives could be or what the negatives could be, and it is a mind crunch. This game is so thinky, and I absolutely love it. One thing to point out, there's definitely the possibility in this game, if someone was to make a mistake and put a no, but it actually could be a yes, meaning, they're asked, can it be here based on your clue? And you say no, and it actually is a yes. One mistake like that, it ruins the game. The game is essentially over and you have to restart it. Not the end of the world. I mean, it's a game. However, it could be a little annoying when that happens. So just note that. And I've definitely made that mistake several times. I've definitely been the victim of a mistake, and everyone else at the table had to restart the game as a result of my actions, and it happens. So just know going in that is a possibility if anyone makes a mistake at the table and answers the question incorrectly. And that's with deduction games in general. That is kind of a characteristic of the deduction genre, that if you have to ask someone and they tell you the wrong thing, then that kind of flips everything over. So just know that. And then there's also the time where you are convinced that you know where the monster is hiding, but the only way that could be possible is if your wife, who's also playing, made a mistake. So you actually are at a table with other people and you call her out and say, you must have made a mistake because I know what the answer is, and you assume that she made the mistake, and she says she didn't make the mistake, and you say, no, you must have, and then she said, no, I didn't, and then and the game carries on, and a few turns later you realize that you made the mistake, and it wasn't your wife, and you feel really, really bad. I know, I was whack. I love you. So, anywho, overall, this game is I cannot recommend it high enough. It is unequivocally my number one game in the deduction genre, and it is in my top 10 overall games of all time. Very, very good game. And if this sounded interesting to you, I recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching.